Hi, this is Shell's Creations. Today I'll share with you a tutorial. I had a request from someone. They sent me this image right here and she said, how do I make text look like this? And she said, I'm using Photoshop Elements 9, and so I'm going to show you quickly how you can make it look like that. Okay, you can see that I have a gray color fill layer here. So that you can see my letters since they start out white. I have the text in white in whatever font you wanted, or if you were using a shape, you could also do the same thing with a shape, the way they've done it with the frame kind of behind here. And then the other layer that's on here is just my sample so that you can see what I'm trying to make it look like. Okay, the first thing that I noticed is that there's a tiny thin outline around the edge of this. And so we want to select our text by holding Control and clicking on the text layer here. And then I need a new layer. That's this icon right down here to create a new layer. And then under Edit, we'll go to Stroke Outline Selection. Okay, the color that I've chosen is a kind of a bright pink. It's supposed to mimic what's here, but you could, whatever color you decide. And the width is kind of up to you. I'm going to go with 3 pixels based on the size of what I have here, but you could tweak that as you like it. And that will give us a fine line there, and then Control D to deselect. You can see the fine edge there. Okay, now let's go back to the text layer. The next thing we want to do is add the shadow. If you look, there's kind of a dark shadow on the bottom of it, and it turns out that the shadow they have here, instead of being a standard gray or dark brown, they have the bright pink. And so up under my drop shadows, I'm going to choose this one right here that's low. Double click on that, make sure that your text layer is highlighted, and you can see that shows up in gray. Okay, the way that we fix that is right here under the FX button. Double click there and it will bring up your shadow. This little box right here is the color of your shadow. If you click on that, it'll let you change the color, and I want to change it to that pink. Now you can adjust things here, the opacity. It seems a little darker in this example, so I'm going to go ahead and increase the opacity on it. But you could play around with it to get what look it is you're going for. You could also tweak the distance and the size and see what makes it look like the look that you are going for. Okay, and the next thing that I need is this soft pink on kind of around the edges of the letters here, and so that's the last step. To do that, I need this word duplicated. I duplicate that by holding down Alt, clicking on this and dragging it up, and it'll make a second copy of it. All right, let's make that first one disappear for now so that I can work on the second one for a moment. I do not want this one to have this shadow, so I'm going to right click, come down here to Clear Layer Style, and take the shadow off of it. I'm also going to make the little outline that we have, our stroke, disappear so that I can work with it well. Okay, click anywhere up here and select the text. I do Control A to select the text, and I need to change the color to that bright pink. And confirm. Okay, now that I have it in bright pink, I need to simplify that layer. Okay, now holding down Control and clicking on the image, the layer image here, selects the outside of it. This next part is again a personal taste, and you'll kind of have to work with it depending on how big the word or object that you're working with is. Under Select, we want to contract. I'm going to contract by about 18. Okay, and then the next step is to feather by about the same amount. So feather 18. And what that does is selects just part of the insides, and I want to delete those. So click on the delete key and it'll remove those edges. Okay, now let's turn back on our white text layer and our outline. I'm going to do Control D to deselect. Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking for, but that bright edge is really bright. And so let's lower the opacity on that down to about 50, 55, somewhere around there. And I think the same thing with our stroked outline. That's a little brighter than what it is in the sample here. So let's lower that down to about 50%. And there you have it. That will give you the same look as what's here. It looks like they chose a color that's a little more blue than what I chose, but that's how you would create that look. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email at shells.creations1@gmail.com.